Hello storytellers, welcome back to the channel. This isn't my usual content, but it's a very important video. And not just because it's my birthday. That's right, the day this is going out is my birthday. I've done a relaunch on my 32nd birthday. And I know there'll be some people out there going, but why relaunch? You were still posting semi-regularly. And you keep making content and talking about your Disney trips, and you are 100% correct. And the reality is none of that is changing. But over the past, I'd say 2 years, maybe more so the past year, since my health scare back in March, if you don't know what I'm on about, check out my monthly vlogs. I just had this sort of crash of reality that I am presenting the way people expect me to, and not how I truly feel I want to be represented. So this video is to talk through why I'm doing these changes, which that's a part of it, and to talk through the future and introduce you to my new brand that I have made for myself and put a lot of work and time and effort into in the background of making Life of a Storyteller. So let's get into it. So, point number one, 2019, I was 26, 27, and the colour schemes and popularity at the time were these pastel colours of blues and pinks, which looked a bit like this, and then turned into this, for me anyway. Yeah, I wanted to fit into the Disney niche, which isn't that niche anymore, it's quite a big thing. I'd watched all these YouTubers, I'd done a bunch of research, I was really deeply invested in using my entertainment and events industry knowledge with my acting knowledge, with my love of Disney and fandoms, and that's why this channel started. And it started for all the right reasons, but I went about it completely the wrong way. So when looking into all this research, looking into the pastel colours that were really popular at the time, the sort of pink Disney girlies. Does anyone remember that phase on Instagram where everyone had like that pink filter on? Yeah, so I felt I had to match that to fit in and to be seen and to be popular and to get the likes. And reality is, if that is genuinely your aesthetic and who you are and what you want to be, then yeah, that will work. But it didn't work for me. It is not who I am. It's never been who I am. So that's kind of the main reason this started. The main focus point of it for me to begin with was looking at the colour scheme and just really looking at it and going, that's not me. That's not how I represent. I don't wear pastel colours. I don't do the cutesy stuff. I've always been on the border of alternative, and I'm really leaning into that in my 30s, and I needed this channel to match that energy, match that vibe, match what I'm doing. So yeah, I had to figure myself out over the past few years, and the pastels wasn't working. So that was point one. Point two is probably much harder to talk about. It's a lot deeper, and there is no easy way of saying it, but I've always felt like my identity was forced upon me by not only society, but my mother. Now, the reason this is not only hard to talk about is, one, it's going to start to sound like a trauma dump. And before you switch off, I know this is not the place for it. I'm not going to get into it too much, but it is worth noting that my mother had a significant impact on it. So she died in 2014, so it's been 11 years. And all the way up until the day she died, me and her fought constantly over my appearance. I was too loud, too clumsy, too boyish, too garish for her. They're just some of the words she used. I was always a bit too big. I didn't put makeup on how she thought I should. As I think a lot of people who are millennials found with particularly women and their mothers, the language and the expectation, I think we all experienced it to some extent. With my mum though, she really pushed this idea of who I needed to be. and it was almost like I should be this person. People have always expected me to be this cutesy, pastel, floral, like this clip of me on my 30th birthday in a yellow t-shirt with a floral headband and a bob cut and granny glasses. What was I thinking? I swear everything about it was a cry for help. I spent my whole life battling her. She had full control of my wardrobe as a teenager. I never got to express myself fully how I wanted to. And I always told myself I would the moment I left home, which was going to be as soon as I could. And when I did leave home, she died. And I had this overwhelming guilt that I needed to be the person she expected. I needed to do it for her. And I then spent probably the best part of the next 10 years trying to do that, trying to dress more elegant, more ladylike, getting into vintage dresses. I tried everything to become the person she expected me to be. And every time I pushed into it, things would go wrong. And I would feel uncomfortable and I would get overwhelmed and there would be a little breakdown. And this was happening way too often. And when I hit 30, I was quite excited to hit 30. I felt like this was going to be a new era. My 20s were over. A lot of stuff happened. And I was ready to really embrace it. And I look back at that video of me on my 30th birthday, doing that video for you, and I don't recognise that person at all. But I do know that actually if my mother saw that person, she would be incredibly happy. So I kind of feel like I've ticked that box. But then I had my health scare in March, and if you didn't know about it, watch the monthly vlog. I'm not going to get into it now, I'm not repeating it, just for time. But it meant that I had this sudden realisation that I am living my life for everybody else, even the dead. I'm not living it for me. I'm doing it for the aesthetic on YouTube, or I'm doing it to appease my dead mother, or I'm doing it because society have that expectation of me. And I just went, I can't do this anymore. And so over the past year and a bit, I've been, I suppose, not necessarily refinding my style, but expressing myself how I wished I had as a teenager. And I know that's kind of like this online joke that you hit 30 and suddenly you become a teenager again, but it genuinely feels like that has happened. But this time I've got no one to tell me not to. And I've never felt happier, I've never felt more free in my life. I think my students would tell you I'm dressing like an emo again. Maybe slightly valid. But I'm exploring who I've always wanted to be. I am not elegant, I am not graceful, I'm not cutesy, I'm not demure, I'm not ladylike, I'm none of those things. And you know what? I'm kind of proud of that now. I like comfy clothes, baggy shorts, the colour, well, the shade, it's not actually a colour, the art teachers would be annoyed at me for saying it's a colour. And I always wanted to get more piercings, dye my hair, get tattoos, and I've been doing that over the past few years, and I wanted it to reflect in the work I'm doing on YouTube. It felt like who I was at home and who I was on YouTube were two completely different people, and that wasn't the purpose of this channel. It was to be me living my experiences in Disney or these movies or whatever. And it had switched for a long time. It had become separate. We were two separate characters living in the same office, and it just wasn't going to last. So yeah, they were the two main reasons. So why am I rebranding? Well, first and foremost, absolutely nothing is changing in terms of content. I'm still going to Disney. I still love Disney. I'm still obsessed with it, particularly the Disney parks. That is still a big part of this channel, but I'm exploring it more to do with what I like rather than all the stuff that's coming out. Obviously, if I'm in the parks and like a new set of merch has come out, we'll go view it, but I don't have to buy it. This is sort of the big one, is I don't have to buy everything that is popular. I just have to buy the stuff that I like. This shelf at the moment up here, it's not my Nightmare Before Christmas one, the one above it. It's meant to be for the Disney parks, and I've realised how bare it is. And my favourite rides in the Disney parks are Phantom Manor and Pirates of the Caribbean. and I have basically nothing. So when we go in October, I want to fill that shelf up. I actually want to fill it up so much I cover most of this cabinet. This side I'm kind of keeping as a homage to my old self. It is a little bit more of the classic cutesy Disney. It will probably change over time, but I want to get more specific merch that is to do with me. So nothing is changing in terms of content. I'm still doing Disney, I'm still doing theme parks, I'm still doing travel. All of that is the same. It's just I'm now turning up as myself, not the character, a life of storyteller. It is Lauren, the storyteller. So the colour palette is matching my vibe. I love autumn, Halloween, that whole thing. I love purples, oranges, greens, blacks. That is my vibe to a T, and always has been. So that's why I picked the upcoming colour scheme that will be revealed at the end. The name is still the same, because I suppose I kind of want to reclaim the character I made, Life of a Storyteller. I am a storyteller through and through. I don't know how to describe how, I just am. I love to turn everything into a story. And for years I used to, if anyone was like, oh, why is everything a story view? Like, oh, go on then, tell us another story. I used to see it as a negative. And as I've got older, I've gone, you know what? No. People love a story. People are fascinated by a story. And the fact that I have this skill to do it, use it, make something out of it. So bringing it to YouTube. And like I said, I'm finally embracing my real personality. So that's why I've rebranded. I'm a little spooky, very nerdy, super nostalgic, creatively chaotic, I would say, but at the forefront, still me. And I suppose my final point I want to get to is the future with this channel. Although the content is staying the same, I actually want to make a real big go of this YouTube channel over the next few years. I've always done it as a passion project, alongside teaching and acting. And I always end up coming back to it in like these big floods of passion, and then it dies down for a while. And I sat with Daniel and I was like, I really want to make a go of this. The acting has calmed down quite a lot over the past few years. So maybe it's a sign this is still going, to give this a real shot. So yeah, there's going to be more vlogs, there's going to be more videos. I'm going to try and post more, I'm going to try and respond to comments more. I'm basically going to try and be a bit more engaged, and rather than just posting these videos for the fun of it. So I just wanted to say thank you to any of my followers who have been here since the start or have been around for a while. You are appreciated. Please, I hope you stick around for these changes. If you don't, fully respect it. I am expecting some numbers to drop from this video. I'm hoping not, but it's expected. And if this is your first introduction, hello, this is me. Anything from this video backwards, you will see it progressively become less this. So in terms of regular uploads, I am trying to get into a state where I actually upload every Sunday. I got really good at it for a long time, and the monthly vlogs I did last year actually really helped, because I mean I had one a month guaranteed. I didn't have to think too much about it. But we're not doing those anymore. They were great, but they were a hassle. And also sometimes not the most entertaining, because some months it would just be me sat on my couch or at work. So I am going to try and post every Sunday, usually around 5 PM. Fingers crossed. So that is continuing exactly as it was. So this is me. This is the life of a storyteller now, and I hope you'll stick around for the ride, and plenty more stories to come. If you are planning on sticking around, please give this video a like and subscribe. And I now introduce you to my new title, my new banner, my new logos. Welcome to Life of Storyteller 2.0.